he was saying that, like, often you're looking in your partner for the things that you feel insecure about in yourself.
It's so true.
You want this person who is gonna show up and yeah, like, wow the world because you like what that says about you. So instead of looking for that in someone else, actually work on the parts of you that need to grow. Hello and welcome to the Christians Who Date podcast. We're so glad you're here.
I'm Kalli Christopherson.
I'm Lauren Bernier.
You guys are liars. You're liars, and I won't let you lie to the people like
Oh
that.
my goodness.
Wow, I was just rolling with what Lauren was doing.
I was being silly. It's late for us because
Yeah.
I made you. Well, Dre kind of made us late, or did I make us late? I made us late.
Mostly you, but
I had a good
me
reason.
too.
The
I had a good
blame.
reason. I have eyeliner on because of it.
Yeah.
Always.
If you're watching on YouTube, Lauren is super cute right now.
She's looking fine.
Tell us
Did
why.
I go on a date? No. But I did go to a charcuterie night with like 40 women.
Why? Wait, how do you pronounce charcuterie? Please?
Cha-
Can we please say that again?
Charcuterie. How do you guys say it? Charcuterie? Charcuterie?
Charcuterie.
It's charcuterie.
Charcuterie. Why is Lauren like Lauren's like charcuterie?
Charcuterie night. And honestly, all I did, everyone's designing their charcuterie board. And I'm literally just stuffing my face with bread and cheese as I'm talking to everybody.
Let's go.
So
Let's go.
and then I was like, well, gotta go to this podcast.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah,
That
We're
is
it was
so
great.
grateful you're here.
So I'm dressed up for tonight.
Yeah.
The only time you'll get it is when I do charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
Okay.
Charcuterie.
Enough about me. But then we were also late because Dre decides to get her flight delayed.
Yeah.
Classic Dre on a
Yep.
plane. Okay,
Second
it was actually
time this has happened. Sort of.
it was actually the weirdest because this morning was on time and then it was way delayed and that's when I texted you guys and then they actually moved it back up.
Oh.
And so it was still kind of tight and I was like, I don't know if it's going to keep getting delayed. You know, you never know. It's like you
Yeah.
could get to the airport. So I was like, we're just going to keep it late, like whatever.
Oh,
But
okay.
I actually did end up getting here like close to when I originally was going to get here. But
Oh, funny.
yeah.
Well, thank you everyone
Wow.
for letting me go to my night to make friends.
You are
I'm
welcome.
happy.
Totally.
I don't have any. Except us.
Literally.
We're not
Except
even
for,
her
like,
friends.
Everyone.
But-
Like there's like a million people right now saying, what? I thought I was Lauren's best friend.
Well, you guys
Classic.
are it. Don't tell
That's
anybody. Don't tell anyone.
You just told all of them.
Yeah.
Because this is going to go on Spotify.
There we go.
They're going to tune in and find out the real truth.
Yeah.
Dang it. Number.
Oh man. Also, Andrea is just like a traveling queen these days. She's just flying all
Traveler.
over the states. Can't
Literally,
even
we're
keep
like,
up with her.
Where is this woman?
Big
The ul-
traveler.
Ultimate influencer.
Yeah. I would
Wait,
like to. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say my roommate and I sat by this cute guy at the gate, and I was actually looking for like a way to talk to him,
Okay.
but he had his AirPods in, and when I would look at him, like he just stayed like locked into his phone,
Missed opportunities.
and I was kind of like, how much do I want to press for this? And I, you know, like literally, I'm like, do I want to be like, sorry to interrupt, but like, are you from here? Like, and so I didn't say anything. So let that be a lesson to you ladies and you guys out there.
And that guy at the airport.
And that guy at the airport. Like if a cute girl and her roommate sit next to you, like definitely take the AirPods out.
But in his defense,
Okay.
I have had times where I feel like people are checking me out and I will not look at them because I've either been in a relationship or not interested. So what if he's in a relationship and he's trying not to look at girls?
I think we can all agree that he definitely was interested.
If he had seen Andrea, he would have been interested. So
Oh, he would have dumped his girlfriend?
Yep.
Oh
No, you just said the two options where he's either in a relationship or not interested.
So he definitely was.
So he was either in a relationship or that's it, because there's
Oh.
no way it was. No,
Oh
just
my
kidding.
gosh.
I'm
I was like,
just
what
kidding.
is happening?
Yeah, the guy at the airport, he might not have been interested. I don't. It's not his fault.
Yeah. We're not going to blame him.
Yeah,
We don't know.
Yeah, people are allowed to not be interested.
Yeah.
It does happen. Okay,
Rarely,
but anyway,
yes. Anyways,
we just pump each other up so much that like we get a little detached from like
reality.
Reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Totally.
wait.
I get caught up.
Said I'm perfect.
I get caught up in the waves of your guys' emotions. I have none of my own.
No,
Whatever Kalli and Andrea are feeling, I feel.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I will say, if a man doesn't think you guys are attractive, I'm genuinely confused. Like,
okay,
I don't get
seriously
it.
though, that's how I feel.
So,
Well, I've never had that issue.
Wow.
So I don't understand what you're talking about.
Speaking of attraction,
It is.
I love that segue.
Kalli, what are we talking about
Me?
today?
Wow. I mean, no one can probably guess now, but it
This is
happens
going to come
to
from left field.
totally out there. But it happens to be attraction.
Whoa.
That is the big ticket, the big topic of the night. So, yeah,
That's the topic.
Ticket topic. Typic topic.
Yeah. And Lauren actually was the one that was like, "Ooh, we should talk about this." So, Lauren, do you want to say
Our
why?
content creator.
Yes.
I made myself content creator.
Self-titled.
For our podcast because I thought of this idea.
Yep.
So we've had multiple discussions throughout the months and years of our friendship and all the datings and the long amounts of men we have seen. I don't know why I'm trying to make this like a story. So we have talked about attraction.
Like an old English tale,
Yeah,
basically.
an old English tale.
She's like,
So-
hey.
Okay, you all pull it together.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Pull together.
professional.
We
We're
gotta be-
professionals.
We got to be profesh. Okay. So we have talked about this idea of attraction because in our culture, attraction, and dating, attraction is a huge piece. And a lot of people are like, you got to be attracted. You know, that's the biggest piece. And it is a huge piece when it comes to whoever you date, especially romantically, which I hope would be romantic. Not just date platonically.
How else do you date besides romantically?
I know.
Just
Okay, let me
platonically
focus.
dating.
You all, just listen. So anyways, we're going to talk about attraction today. What does attraction mean? And do you have to all the time be attracted to someone? How can attraction be affected in dating? And we'll kind of go from there and share some stories of attraction and what that means to us and how it can sometimes change and what does that mean if it changes? So
Great questions.
Wow, that was so hard to explain all that.
You did it.
Well done.
Thank you. Okay, so my question to you all, and I'll answer as well, is like, what does attraction mean to you? Do you have any stories about attraction? Sounds kind of funny. And then we'll go from there.
Yes. Yeah. Great question.
Great question.
Attraction to me means that it's almost like this magnetic feeling where you're just like, I am just drawn to this person. And I think it honestly can be for different reasons. Like some guys, like maybe they're just like kind of physically my type. And I'll just be like, he's just a really good looking man. But some guys, they are not my physical type, but I am very drawn to them because they are my humor or, like they're just like really funny. Or they're just like really kind and engaging and like confident in who they are. Like it's just, there's a lot of things that can kind of cause that. But it is this kind of like magnetism where I just find myself like, if we work together, like I just want to be 2 feet away, like I just want to be around them. So I would say, yeah. And then I think what I've noticed in myself is that I'll think about them and kind of like wonder what they're doing and like what's going, like I'm like, wonder what he's up to right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I feel like that is kind of, I don't know how I would maybe define it or how I notice it in myself. But what about you,
Ooh.
Kalli?
Yeah, no, I like the word you used for that. I'm trying to think if there's another way I could phrase it, but I would say like very similar to you. We've mentioned this before, but I'm not often attracted to like just anybody, which is kind of a bummer because it's been like sometimes years between people where I'm like, oh, that's an attractive man. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not an everyday occurrence.
Mhm.
I even like funny side story. It was in our ministry school days, but I went to this like party with a friend and I was telling her like, yeah, I just like, just not attracted to guys that often. And she was like in this room I could date, and she like names, like she just points out like probably 10 different guys. She's like, I could date him, and I was like, that is wild to me.
That's
like,
amazing.
There is no one in this room I would date. Like, it's just like
Wow.
different personalities, different perspectives. Yes.
Yep.
But I will say, like, I would totally agree. Sometimes it's like a physical, like, oh, I think that guy's really attractive, or
Mhm.
it's an emotional thing, or like personality thing. And for me, that's
Mhm.
happened way more often.
So many times, actually.
And usually, like, it's funny because it's ended up a couple times. It's been like guys that I never would have like given a second glance to, but we have spent time together in different scenarios, and I just was like, wow, like, yeah, like I love their humor, like they're super kind, and it's just like suddenly then that other piece of like physical attraction also grew, and I was like, wow, okay, now I'm like attracted to this person like both physically and like personality. So it's just funny because, yeah, as we'll kind of discuss it, but attraction is not something you can just like kind of figure out. It's not like a formula. It can come in all different ways. So that's just a little bit about my side. But Lauren,
it can blindside you.
totally can.
I'm attracted to them.
Not for Lauren, but for me and Kalli,
Yeah.
it definitely
out
can.
of nowhere.
It's just out of nowhere. One day you're like, I cannot stop thinking about that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like, I'm shook.
I am shook. Yes, truly.
Yeah. Yes.
So good. I know we were talking about before we were recording that I was like, Kalli and Andrea, they're like, it's a miracle if they're attracted to somebody at times, where I'm like, he's attractive. I don't think I'm as wild as that person that was like, I can go into a room and like that many people. No, I yeah, it wasn't me. I was like, oh my gosh.
I was like, oh,
but
Lord.
I feel like I easily crush on a guy. And I think though I'm usually pretty good at like crushing on one guy at a time, but it's like once that crush is done, I'm on to the next. Like it's like I'm like,
can wrap it up quick.
Wrap it up onto the next. So but yeah, I feel like, and I usually fall hard, like I fall pretty quick like in feelings for a guy if I am attracted to them. I think though it's funny if I like think of, I'm not attracted to like a certain physical type, I don't think, because I've like dated all ethnicities, I think.
Yeah.
And so yeah, all in the world.
Every single ethnicity.
Ethnicity.
Impressive.
Just like a lot of different ethnicities. So it's not like I have a certain ethnicity, but I think I do like the athletic guys, and I do like guys who are like really sweet and kind, which who wouldn't? I'd hope.
Yeah.
I like the mean guys.
No, some girls do. It's unfortunate.
They do, which we'll talk about attachment styles, but yeah, so I think that attraction for me is like, it's always thinking about them a lot. Like I just feel really drawn to them, and I just want to keep wanting to be with them. And then when you get to the like romantic attraction, that's when it's like, ooh, oh, this is fun, because I wouldn't say I'm like usually romantically like super connected to a guy until I've like hung out with him a couple times, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's when it's
butterflies.
super fun when it's like, ooh, I can't wait to be with them and maybe kiss them, because I kiss so
Whoa.
much.
So
Just
much
kidding. So much kissing. So
her favorite YWAM pastime.
oh my gosh. Not true. Not
Lauren,
true.
Just
constantly
what you told everybody.
telling everyone how she's making out, and we don't know this girl.
Yeah. Okay, so we all talked about attraction, but attraction is a big piece in dating. My next question is, because this is the topic, I'm a content creator, just being bad, is do you need to be 100% all the time attracted to someone that you're dating?
I'm gonna say no. Actually, I think you're blessed if that is the case for you, honestly, because I feel like all my friends who are married, my friends who have dated, like nobody, I don't think I've talked to anybody who's always attracted. Like that's only the movies, I think. So yeah, I would say no, you don't always have to be attracted. I would say that you do need to, like in the beginning, there should be like an initial level of attraction. And I don't mean like in the beginning, like the first day that you meet them, but it's like, the first few weeks of like maybe being around them and kind of hanging out. But honestly, even then, it's like sometimes you're friends with people for like a couple years, and then one day it just flips for some reason. But yeah, all that to say, like if you start a relationship, like you need to probably know that you're attracted, I would say. There are some like special cases in there, I guess, where attraction is maybe a little trickier for people. Kalli and I have low-key been in that spot. So
as in like in different relationships in the past.
Yeah. Or I mean, just like the way that we're wired, attraction like isn't maybe like as straightforward, like because just because of how we're wired, which we can talk more about. But that's my like, first level answer to that question. I would say you don't always have to be attracted 100% of the time.
Yeah.
To
follow that up, I would say I agree. You do not have to be attracted all the time. I can't think of anybody that I know that's like all the time I'm 100% attracted to this person. But I do, again, agree with Andrea where I think that should definitely be an element in your relationship where there is attraction. Because that's just important. Like, I think in Christian culture, sometimes people can kind of think that attraction is like superficial or like it's just not as important as other things. But I'm like, if you're making this decision about spending like the rest of your life with somebody, you're gonna want to make sure it's somebody you enjoy spending time with in like every possible way. And you're not just like, oh, that's not there. Like, that would just be really hard. And so I'm like, I definitely think it should be there at some level. But in the dating phase, it's interesting because it grows, and sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just like your hormones are all. Sorry, I can't speak. Sometimes your hormones are all over the place and you're just like, I'm not feeling anything. And sometimes you're like, oh, I'm super attracted. So there's just like different things. And it can be something small too, like, oh, maybe the guy doesn't have like great style or something, but they change their style and you're like, whoa, I'm so attracted. So there are things that you can like do to help that as well, like help attraction grow, that are really easy. So again, that's just kind of like a little tidbit, but jump in, Lauren.
I love that so much. Yeah, because I think when I started dating, I was like, oh, I have to be 24/7 attractive. And it's funny, usually I was really attracted to a guy until I started to really get to know them, and then they do things that would annoy me. And whatever that annoying thing was like the way they ate or
Yeah.
like a joke they
The
made.
ick. You would get the ick,
The
as they
ick.
say.
The
Yeah.
ick. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm not attracted. Wait, does that mean we aren't supposed to date? Oh, because like I'm
Yeah.
not attracted. And then I'm like, what if they think I'm not attractive for an outfit I wear, you know? Like
Yeah.
I used to wear a Justin Bieber shirt a lot with a guy I dated, and I'm like, I probably really turned him off. Like just wearing this dumb band T-shirt.
That was a great shirt. What are
I
you talking
want
about?
you to bring that back.
Yeah, I think
I
you
think
should
I gave
wear
it
it
to
on the
Goodwill.
next pod.
I think I
Ah,
gave it to
dang it.
Goodwill. But like
What?
things like
That
that.
was
So
an
he's probably like,
iconic Lauren shirt for a while.
probably like, why is this girl who's 30 wearing a Justin Bieber shirt? Anyways, that could be unattractive to someone else or be really hot depending on the guy. But I just think like, yeah, like I think I was pretty like had a just like, oh, you're either attracted and then when you're not, then like maybe you need to not be together and not realizing like, oh, there is like again, like Kalli said, triggering or hormones or things like that, which now I actually
Yeah.
will challenge it more if
Mm.
there's days when I'm dating someone that I'm struggling with attraction. This is more in the dating. If I'm getting to know someone and I'm attracted than unattracted, it's like, well, you know, I'm just like getting to know them. But once
Yeah.
dating, I'll usually challenge myself of like, well, why am I not attracted to them? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Because at least in my personality, and Andrea, I'd love you to share more about like attachment style. But in my personality, like when I start to get close to somebody, I will then find reasons not to be attracted to them. So I don't
Yep.
have to be close to them. Like subconsciously, I'll like sabotage a little bit. And so I remember I'll just share a story is there was a guy I was dating and we went to like the beach. We had a great day and he took off his shirt and I was like, oh, I'm not attracted to him because of like one thing on his body. And I was like, yeah, I'm not attracted to him. And I was so attracted to him until then. And then I realized I was like, oh, I'm like literally nitpicking him.
Yeah.
And I was like, who do I nitpick? I nitpick myself.
Mm.
Oh, and I was just trying to push him away in a sense. And then when I realized what I was doing, I was almost immediately able to be attracted to him again. And also just be
Yeah.
like, oh, like everybody has like different things. Like they don't have to have a perfect body. I don't have a perfect body. And I was
Right.
immediately attracted to him again.
Mhm.
So it was
Wow.
like something I had to deal
So
with
wild.
in myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an example.
That's
Yeah.
so good, Lauren.
Yeah, that's a good example. And like it's when you're thinking that way, like you said before, it's so anxiety inducing because you feel like a total victim to like your circumstances, you know? Like it's like, uh-oh, like in that situation it'd be like, uh-oh, I can't be around him when he has his shirt off because that will like kill my attraction.
Exactly.
And then you start having anxiety because you're like, oh, now I'm not attracted. Like now I can't be with him anymore. And it's like it can just send you on this like roller coaster of emotions because every single time he does something that, you know, you're not attracted to, then it's like, oh, well, it has to be over. It wasn't meant to be. And it's just, I mean, it's so wild to live like that. So it is like you do have to kind of learn to like get to the root of it, get to the bottom of it, and really figure out what's going on so that you're not just like going from relationship to relationship and like because you're gonna have the ick. Like that's my theory about the ick is you're gonna run into it at some point. Like
Yeah.
and you just got to learn like what it's rooted in so that you're not just like tossing out really great guys who you actually are attracted to, like
Yes.
on the base level.
And I think it goes back to like our culture is very perfection based and like fantasy based of like you just fall in love and it's perfect and da 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 da. And I even think of one of my friends, her and her husband knew within like 2 weeks they were going to get married, and they had like a crazy, just super in love fast, had a really great like dating, and then got married. And then now she talks about like different things that they like struggle with more in their marriage. And I mean, their marriage is fine, but she's like, yeah, I'm like unattracted to him at times because of this. But yet they had this like perfect dating romantic thing. But then now in the reality of life of like, there's things that really annoy her about what he does. Like no relationship is like 24/7, 100% attraction all the time because we're humans. But that doesn't mean you don't love each other or that you don't work through things.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's more than attraction. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
for sure.
like we have stuff too. Like, you know, I'm betting that whether it's the dating phase, the married phase, the parent phase, but I'm sure at some point our husbands are going to be like, huh, You know,
Yeah.
not super into it right now or whatever. So it's just like it's just a human thing. No human looks like so great all the time or is just like
Yeah.
doing everything perfectly. It's just like,
Yeah.
that's just normal. So
Yeah. When
yeah.
I wake up in the morning with my night guard and my ponytail like
Actually,
shifted
it's endearing.
over
It's
to
my
the
favorite.
side.
My
Callie
favorite.
and I love it when she drops granola on the ground. She always drops
And
your
I leave
cereal.
a trail of cereal behind me and I don't talk to anyone for the first like 30 minutes of the day.
Always had to clean up her cereal.
That blank stare sitting on the couch eating out of that cup. So great.
Circles under her eyes.
This is
We're just going to
unconditional. You're
detail.
witnessing unconditional love right now between my two former roommates and now best friends.
I miss those days.
Yep. They're so good.
Yeah, so funny. Well, I feel like I kind of want to talk a little because I feel like attraction has been a journey that's unfolded for me and I've learned so much about myself. I almost want to tell like somebody who is me 10 years ago like what I have so much more insight.
Do it.
Yeah, because I think so. I have dated multiple men who were just good on paper. And so logically, I was like, this is a good choice. Like, just make it work, like, because they were attracted to me and, like they wanted to date me and I knew they were like good guys and solid and I had heard stories about like how attraction can grow. And I don't think that those stories aren't true, but I do think think for me, like and I even used to go by the rule like give anyone as long as they're safe, like at least one date.
Oh,
No.
I had
And
that
I
season.
I had that season. I don't believe it anymore. I
No,
don't
good.
believe it because you think about it like anyone. Like
It's terrifying.
like I remember I think the first guy that asked me out when I decided I was in that season, like I in no other season of my life would I have given him a date. Probably he's like a perfect man for somebody else, but he just was not
Yes.
my type. And so anyway, like yeah, I do think there's like a neutral, you can feel neutral about a guy. And I would say if you feel neutral and you're just kind of like intrigued and you're like, oh, I'd like to get to know this guy more, like, and I think we'd have a good conversation, like that's great. But you don't have to be like head over heels, but you do need to feel like he's like, yeah, okay, maybe. Like, but if you just know like he doesn't have a real chance, like it's you just gotta let the man go. Like don't give him a date unless he's got a real shot. Like so that's one thing I would tell myself is I don't necessarily agree that you have to go give any safe guy at least one date. Unless if you're really picky, if you're super picky and you've been saying no to guys nonstop, like for years, then maybe I would give yourself that rule because you need to loosen up a little.
No, that's so good.
Yeah, but it depends a little bit on your like personality, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say with those guys that were just like really good on paper, I really wanted to be attracted. I think like it's just I think in the end I just was like this isn't fair to them because there's going to be a girl that is so attracted to them, like she's going to come along and they're going to have the chance at a great relationship because they're both like so into each other and he deserves that, like he doesn't deserve to be with someone that like is not really feeling it, like it's kind of unfair. Like, so, it doesn't matter how good it looks on paper. Like that's kind of an important part. And it's like we've said before, it's a long time. It is a long time to like be with the same person. And so I think, yeah, I do think there definitely needs to be like a baseline attraction there. It doesn't matter if like they just look good on paper. So yeah, I think that's been part of my journey. And I would say too, like if attraction is tricky for you, something that you can do is go on a lot of dates. Like, get to know yourself as a dater. Like, how am I on a date? Like, how am I with a lot of different guys?
Good.
A lot of different personalities, because it'll start to become really clear to you when you are attracted. Like, that's how, like, I know now when I'm attracted, because I like I'm looking for reasons to like touch his arm, or like like a little like hand squeeze on the forearm kind of situation.
Thanks for
Or like,
illustrating
I'm
that.
like, what type of flirting is this?
it's really smooth, Lauren, okay? Like, I know that you haven't seen me on a date before, but like, it's a good move.
It's magic.
I do fist pumps.
What
I'm like,
Yeah.
Lauren does
Super romantic.
Lauren does finger
fist
guns
pump.
if she's a
Totally.
finger
has.
guns.
totally.
She
I was
probably
attracted. I
has.
was attracted to a guy, and I went on a run with him, and I gave him a fist pump, and he was like, "What is that?" I
I
was
can't believe
like,
you're judging my squeeze of the forearm when you give fist pumps.
no, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Is like I have no space to judge. I have no space to judge.
Okay. But it's like, I just know, like, I'm like, I know
Mhm.
what it's like, I'm like, I'll notice, like, if we're walking side by side, I'll notice, like, oops, I bumped into him, like,
Andrea just gets real touchy when she is attracted.
Oh
I
and
love
that
it.
is true. That is true. I can't be I'm being exposed right now in the pod. But it's true. I just start, I'm like, oh, we bumped shoulders again. What's happening?
Wait, Kalli, what do you do? I'm
Yeah,
curious.
what are you like, Kalli? Let's hear it.
What's
like when
attractive
I'm
Kalli
really
like?
I
Yeah,
love it.
what do you notice in yourself when you're really
Yeah.
attracted?
I think I've mentioned this before, but I notice that time goes really quick.
Ooh,
Like,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
If I'm like in a really good conversation or something, I'll like look and be like, oh my gosh, it's already been like whatever, 30 minutes or however long. If it's like an actual date, sometimes like there was one time I was like kind of on this date with this guy, and I was like, I wonder how much time has gone by. And I looked at my phone and it was 3 hours. And I was like,
That's
oh
wild.
my gosh.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dang, okay.
Where has the time come or gone?
That's a good one, actually, Kalli. That's a
That
good
is
example.
such a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like and this is more of the phase of like I've like been like spending time with somebody and like getting to know them, like let's just say it's like in a work scenario though, so it's not like we're dating, but I'm spending time with them like in a certain space.
Yeah.
I'll notice like if I start to miss them, like I'm like, that's a huge like kind of cue for me. Like I think about this one guy I was interested in, but I was kind of like in the denial phase because
Love it. Love it.
I was like, no, I was like, because at the time we worked together and we just like got along really well, really similar humor, would give each other lots of crap. And, you know, that's like my kryptonite.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh no, I was like, I think he might be crushing on me. I'm not crushing on him. And then I was like out of town for like a week and I thought about him so much. And I was like,
that's a big one.
Dang it. I was like, I like actually miss him. And I'm like, that means I like him.
I like him.
I was like, dang it. Makes things a little more complicated, but whatever.
Yeah.
So that's one. I feel like I do try to be closer. I'm probably not as sounds funny, not as touchy as Andrea. But I do like being closer as well. So those are some of mine. Yeah. Lauren.
Yeah.
What are
or
yours?
like, I feel like Kalli, like, how about, I feel like the moments when you are close, or like the moment where you like brush up against their shoulder or something, it's like, whoa, you like,
Yeah.
yes. Like,
oh yeah.
Is that the best?
You
You're
get
like,
very
whoa.
excited. It's
Yeah.
like a little like barely a touch and you're like, oh my gosh. Like so
It's
funny.
like the hand moment in Pride and Prejudice when Mr.
Yes.
Darcy's like shaking out his hand. Yep.
That is
Yeah.
the moment. Or that's
Yeah.
like a big cue for like, you know, me. If a guy's like trying to be close or finds a reason to touch me, that's when I'm like, huh, that's really interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Oh
okay,
my
Lauren,
gosh,
what's
obsessed.
yours?
I think I get real creative with how I can like somehow see them.
Yes.
Like
That's
I'm
true.
like, oh, you want to work
Absolutely.
out? Oh, like I need to go to the store. You want to go to the store? Like
Yeah.
I will just start
She's
texting.
a great initiator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I need to go do this. Do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Like I'll just, find ways to spend time with them.
Yeah.
I literally in college, this is so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, I low key stalked that guy. And I will admit it. I'll be the first to admit it.
What's
I
his
like
name?
I can't because it's like this is one
Kalli.
that I can't.
Naughty.
He's
Lauren
married. He's
always
married.
name drops, so I just
I
wanted
name
to
drops,
see.
but college is too. It's like
Okay.
high
Okay.
school
Fair.
and under.
Too
High school and
current.
under.
Okay.
Too current. Yeah, this is like real fresh off of
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
But I like knew his schedule, so I'd show up on his like where he ate. I like knew where he came out of class. I like would hang out at his hall. I was like, oh my gosh, I literally made myself like physically available almost like every day to him. I was like, that's like stalking, basically. Like, oh, you're getting a salad, and so I was just like, anyways, and he ended up dating me, so it worked.
Oh,
But,
Oh my
wow.
gosh, that worked.
No,
Come
but then
on, be
but
there.
then he liked me. Okay, this is funny about retraction. Now that we're talking about it, he took me golfing and he was really good at it, and I wasn't, and so I dumped him because I was like, I didn't like that date, and he was just trying to like make himself look good in front of me, and so I dumped him.
Lauren.
Oh my gosh, Lauren.
I was bad. I would just be like, oh, I'm not attracted to you anymore.
You needed
Wow.
our podcast.
Just drop.
Yeah. That was my old wounds. That was one of my wounds. So anyways, I'm way better now. But I'll challenge when I'm not attracted to someone. So
Wow.
anyways, wow, I can't believe it confessed it. I'm so sorry,
Wow.
sir. Sorry.
That's so good.
He's married. He's fine. He's got a great life.
He's doing great.
He's doing great. He
Golfing
moved
on
on.
the weekends.
He moved on.
Sounds like it.
Anyways, I think attraction. I'll be really giggly. Like I'll be like so usually like pretty flirty,
Lauren's like,
giddy,
you're so funny.
wild. Yeah, I'll just be like all smiles, which I'm
All
always
smiles.
smiling, but even extra smiles.
Extra.
So
Yeah.
attraction.
Attraction.
Yeah.
Man.
Wait, Dre, were you gonna say something about attraction?
I could say more, but what were you gonna lead it somewhere?
I was wondering because we've talked about this. We've all mentioned there's been times we've dated guys, and then there's been times we're not attracted to them.
Yeah.
How have you all like moved maybe past that, or have you broken up with them because of like attraction, maybe not having it?
Yeah. Yes to both. I feel like I used to kind of fixate on it more. Like I was like, am I attracted? Am I not attracted? Am I attracted? Like, and I really didn't trust myself. And I feel like I just wanted to force myself to be attracted to some guys, like, because I just knew they were like a safe, secure guy, So anyway, but then I usually would end up breaking up because of attraction, because if it's not there, it's not there, and you just can't, like, I don't know. So, but that was like an underlying, like, most of the time I wasn't, or I was like trying to figure it out. But now anyway, that I've gone on a lot of dates and I know what I'm like when I'm attracted, I think I chill out a little bit more. Like I don't fixate on it as much because I just trust, like, if I kind of am in that, like I'll just notice in myself, like, am I acting like I'm attracted? Yes. Okay. I'm just going to let that lie now. And then if there's moments that come up where I'm not attracted, I'll try to, instead of just being like, well, it's not meant to be, I'll be like, okay, what's going on in me? Because it is usually something that's inside of me. And I don't know if we should dive into it now, but learning about attachment styles really did help me a ton, because I read the book Attached. If you guys have heard of it, I forgot who it's by. We can maybe put it in the show notes, but
I'll look it up as you're talking.
Yeah, literally this book changed. Like I was reading this book and I was like, I can't believe they wrote a book about me. Like they read my mail. Like they just highlighted all the things I was experiencing and I was like, this is crazy. So if attraction's been something that's been hard for you to figure out, 10 out of 10 recommend A, going on a lot of dates, B, reading this book, because basically I'm an avoidant attachment style. I think I'm like secure-ish, avoidant-ish. Like I don't think I'm like super, super hyper avoidant. But what that can look like is you experience like extremely strong attraction when they're not into you. Like you'll pine, you'll have crushes for years. Like, and like maybe have moments where you talk to them or flirt or text them, but like they're never actually like, there's never actually like a relationship or like a threat of them being close. And so you just stay attracted because they're like nice and distant. And then if you're an avoidant attachment style, like closeness intimidates you. And so attraction can disappear when there's the threat of closeness. So once it becomes real and once you're in a relationship and once somebody's trying to get close to you, like it can feel really scary. And so then you'll kind of do things like Lauren was saying, where you'll nitpick and you'll come up with reasons to like just be critical, and you'll come up with reasons that they don't need to be close to you because it feels threatening to you. And so it's really interesting, and it can create like this not great push and pull situation, because when they distance themselves, all of a sudden you want to be close to them again, but then when they come close, you get scared and you kind of push them away. And that's not a pleasant experience for them. And it's not fun for you either, because you're trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with me, you know? So, yeah. So all that to say, like, I think that book had a lot of insight for me, because it was, once you're aware, it's one of those things that it's like, once you're aware of it, you can actually do a lot of work on it, because then it also highlights like, what do you like if you're a securely attached person, and what do you like when you're anxiously attached? And once you can read about secure and you know what that looks like, then you can be like, okay, that's what I'm aiming for. But until you know what health looks like, you just think that, that's the other thing about avoidance, is they just think that it's the wrong person all the time, because they're like, with the right person, I'll finally be okay with being close. But it's not true, because it's a you thing. It's not a them thing. And so actually in my last relationship, that was the longest one I've ever been in, I actually think I healed a lot in my attachment style, because I really just pushed through when I wasn't necessarily feeling attracted, or when I was afraid of feeling close. And I just like allowed there to be closeness instead. And I stopped fixating on like, just, I don't know, wondering if I was attracted or not, if that makes sense. So yeah, I forgot what even the question was, but
no, that was amazing.
Okay.
That was so good. Literally, if you just look at the book attached, you'll find it.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice and easy.
It's incredible.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. So for me, it's been at times like just really simple things like somebody's like style, or like, it's just like little things that I'm like, oh, that could be like, if that was slightly tweaked, I think I'd be more attracted. So just like a funny example, when my boyfriend and I were like going on dates, he wore a lot of sweats to our date, and he's like definitely more like wears like sport type outfits and stuff, and he loves a certain brand. He's very sporty, very sporty. And the sweats, I was just like, huh, like I don't know if I've ever seen him wear jeans. And so one time we were hanging out and I was just like, I have to bring it up. Like, I have to. So I just very chill, but I was like, hey, just wondering, do you have any other pants besides sweats? I said it probably a little differently, but still something along those lines. And he just started laughing and he's like, yes, I have other pants. And I was like, okay. He's like what? I was like jeans. I'm like, I think I would just like it if you wear jeans more. And he was like, okay. So, sweet man. He I think immediately the next time we hung out, jeans.
He did. I remember you said that. He's like, he's wearing jeans.
It was a very big deal. And then
Yeah.
it was really funny because he's like, I did not realize how often I was wearing sweats because he's like, I wore jeans to some event and I think one or two people came up to him and like, whoa, you're wearing jeans. And he's like, oh my gosh, she was right.
That's amazing.
It was so funny. He's like, I did not know. So just little things like that. And I was like, whoa, okay. It definitely, I was like, all right there. So, because sometimes it's just like little things like that where I'm like, if something just was slightly different or like, I've seen this with guys. Sometimes their hair is like a certain way, and I'm like, and then they get a haircut, and they're like a different person.
And you're like,
and I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So
I've had that happen too.
So sometimes it's just like those things, but then there are times like Andrea said where whatever, there's attraction like not happening, and you're like, I think it's actually something to do with me. I don't think it's actually a them thing.
Yeah.
So I think, there's multiple factors, but those are some of mine.
No,
so
those are oh, that's so good. Yeah, because I think especially if you've initially been attracted to somebody, and then there's something not being attracted out of nowhere, it just flips. That's when you have to kind of challenge it of okay, I was attracted, and now I'm not. Like, why?
Yeah,
what happened? And usually it's something that you're triggered on. But I do think, especially when you're getting more in a closer relationship, you basically example you did, Kalli, you're like, this will help me even become more attracted to you. And I'm like, hey, why wouldn't we want to help each other out, become more attracted to one another if we're dating? Not? That's awesome. And I think that sharing your needs or just sharing hey, this is a way that I become more attracted to you. And of course you don't want someone to change who they are. But if it's just little things like clothing, or I would just affirm a guy if I was really attracted to something in him. I'm like, oh, the way you do your hair looks so good on you. I love it. I would affirm the things that I'm attracted to. So they know
so good.
This is really attractive to me. Just because, and that's more when I'm in a little bit more of a serious relationship that I'll share those things, because I'm keep doing that. Whatever you're doing, keep doing that thing.
It's working.
I love it. It's working. Yeah. Smoky hot now. But yeah, so those are really good. Something that I've had to challenge in myself is I've sometimes though been attracted to guys that actually aren't the healthiest, and so I've been oh, I'm super attracted, and have gone on dates and then realized oh, there's some toxic things in them, but I was basing off of but I'm so attracted to you, so obviously we need to keep dating.
Yep.
And I think one of my friends helped me so much, and she is a therapist, but she was like, Lauren, you have to gather the data. She's like, you have to be a researcher though when you're dating someone, and what does the data say? You can't just go off of all the feelings of but I'm so drawn to them, I'm so attracted or whatever, because sometimes your attachment styles, or I learned specifically with one guy I was dating that was pretty unhealthy. It was some of my own trauma attachments of unhealthy attachment that was attaching me to him, even though I was so attracted, almost intoxicating attraction. But the data was showing how unhealthy it was. So you have to sometimes do that. And then I've had also really healthy guys that I'm not that attracted to, and it's because I've had to challenge my how I attach to people. And so the more I've been getting healed in that and like knowing, oh, I have an avoidant attachment style, I've been able to lean in and kind of get through those barriers of when I'm unattracted to someone that I'm dating or getting to know that I've actually really been attracted to. And so, yeah, I just think attraction is really fascinating. I was telling you two earlier, there's a pastor that he talked about in his book, John Mark Comer, Loveology. I think he said like on a podcast or something, but it was like after 2 years of marriage with his wife, he realized he kind of went through a crisis. He's like, I'm not attracted to my wife. Like, and he's having like just doubts. Like, I don't have this intoxicating attraction like I did when we were first dating. And he then really had to go through this thing of like, well, what does it mean to love somebody? Like, what is actually the meaning of marriage? Oh, a marriage is not just like this 24/7 erotic attraction. And that there's definitely parts of that. But that's just one element of many things that build a really healthy relationship. And so attraction is just one element that builds like a really good relationship. It's friendship, it's unconditional love, it's surrender, it's kindness, it's goodness, it's community, it's family. There's so many things that go into like making something really healthy and whole in a dating relationship and hopefully a marriage. And so I think that was really good for me. It like challenged me of like, oh yeah, there's gonna be times where, yeah, there might even be seasons that you're not that attracted, but that doesn't mean that you don't love them or that you're committed. And I think what people I'm kind of getting this time where some people around me are getting divorced or separating. And one of the things is like, well, we're just not attracted to each other anymore. Like, you know, so you move on. And I'm like, you can't base your whole marriage on that.
You're gonna have
like,
you're gonna have 8 marriages. Like
exactly.
But the same things gonna keep happening.
I'm just not feeling it anymore. I just don't have that sexual attraction anymore. It's like, okay, there's lots of stuff that I would challenge in that of like what's really going on.
Totally.
And so you just can't base your whole entire dating or marriage on a feeling.
That's good.
But again, it is an element that is important and helps bring connection. So I'm not going to say like you can't just not be attracted 24/7, but I would say like really go after what's going on underneath that if you're struggling with attraction to someone you've been attracted to and have been in a relationship with. So
I would say too, I think something I see a lot is that people want all the things in one person. Like they're like, I want them to be super extroverted, but also like super like peaceful. And like super this and then super like they want 2 things that don't usually exist in one person to exist in one person. And because I've even noticed that where I'm like, well, I want him to be like this, but I also want him to be like this. You know, like I want him to be like super spontaneous, but like I also want him to like plan dates well. You know, like it's like usually your personality kind of goes like maybe a little more towards one end of the spectrum or another. And so like I think you just have to realize like that you might have someone like who's super driven, but what is the like shadow side of that going to look like? Like, and it's like, it's not that people can't grow or work on things, but you just have to realize that like their greatest strengths are also going to be probably their weaknesses. And so you can't think you're going to get someone that's all strengths. Like, and you have to decide like, what strengths do I really enjoy having? And I'm willing to like, kind of accept the weaknesses that come with that, if that makes sense. Like if somebody's opposite from you in a lot of ways, like that might actually really attract you at first. Like I'm really attracted to extroverts, I think, because I'm like more introverted. But then on the flip side of that, sometimes extroverts do things that I would never do because I'm an introvert. and I have to be like, you know what? We're wired differently. And like part of that is that he's going to do things that I would never do. But like the also part of that is he's braver than me, like it's like you're kind of just like you can't have all. I already said it, but you can't have all the things in one person. Like their personality is going to come with it's really exciting things and then it's things that aren't so great,
the human things.
The human things. So yeah, that's another thing that I would add. I was also gonna say, sorry, I had so many thoughts.
I love
Good.
that we have so much on attraction.
I know,
Who would have
Really.
known?
It's true. But like, I don't know, like, have you guys noticed as a girl sometimes getting like any kind of feedback, like you feel like you better like me, even if I'm in sweatpants and no makeup and a huge baggy t-shirt, like, you know, like it's like you have to, and it's like, okay, there's an element of truth to that, but also
Yeah.
like, let's be honest, as girls, sometimes we can hide. Like, we're purposely hiding in the way that we dress. And so it's like, look a little bit deeper than like, I should just be able to wear whatever I want. It's like, okay, actually, are you hiding a little bit? Like, are you, you know, like, are you consistently just not really wanting to like embrace like looking like feminine or like looking girly, like, and it's just, I think, because I think we can like get on people like you're so shallow, but I also think it's pointing at something deeper a lot of times, like if because as a girl, like if I see guys that really take care of themselves, I'm attracted, and it's like, I think it's part of that is because it shows that he's a guy that takes care of himself. You know, like, I don't think it's
Yeah.
all shallow. Like, I think some of it's like, I can see that like he, yeah, like shows up in the world on purpose and like doesn't look like he just rolled out of bed, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yep.
like, so anyway, I think it's easy to just point your finger at the other person and be like, you're so shallow, but it's also like, okay, but like what's going on in me that I maybe feel like he needs to be okay with me in sweatpants all the time, you know, like it's, or in really baggy clothes all the time, because sometimes there's something going on that you can kind of look at, I guess. Yeah, does that make sense? Can you relate to that at all?
Kind of. Yeah. I think it's like almost like a double standard. Like you're like,
Yeah.
you need to be this way, but then you're not holding yourself to that standard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you need to be
Yeah.
attractive in these ways but then it's like, yeah, then hold yourself to that same standard as well if you're expecting that out of someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
anytime you give someone feedback, you need to be willing to receive feedback in that area too. It can't just be, you need to change these things and I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be like, okay, if I'm willing to point something out to you, I have to be willing to have something pointed out to me.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, I think example personally is like, I'm like, I really value, like, some of my biggest values in dating are like health and fitness. So it's like, I'm looking for someone that values that too, because it's like really attractive for me. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm like asking someone to be fit and healthy. And then if I wasn't doing that, and it's like, and some couples do like that works for them, you know, but
Right.
I'm kind of like, if I'm requiring that of you for me to be attracted to you, like, then I need to be like living out my own way as well.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think I've just had friends who are like almost kind of like, I can do whatever I want, but they need to be this way, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think that's
No,
like,
absolutely.
maybe that's what I'm talking about. It's that double standard is like,
Yes.
you gotta check yourself as well if you're wanting certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Kalli, did you have any thoughts?
Honestly, not really.
Great.
You covered it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just remembered the other thing I was going to say.
Perfect.
I think this has to do a little bit with like how Lauren was saying that she will like nitpick and she'll realize like, oh, that's what I do to myself. And I think the other thing that we do is, you know, according to like science, just kidding. according to research.
Oh my gosh.
But I've been diving back into Dr. Henry Cloud lately, of course. But anyway,
when have you dove away?
It was like, when did you get out of
When did you take a break?
I have not been out of the pool actually. But anyway, so I've been listening to one of his books again. But he was saying that, like, often you're looking in your partner for the things that you feel insecure about in yourself.
It's so true.
Yes. And so you'll start being hard on them because they're not making up for the things that you don't want to work on in yourself. And he says you have to own your own stuff.
Why do you do these things to me, Andrea? I'm like, it's bad in the heart. I'm like, okay, I hear you.
I felt it towards me. I'm not even trying to.
Oh my god.
Twisting the knife
I'm
in
like,
Lauren.
oh, I'm like, I feel it so deeply right now. Okay, continue.
But you want this person who is like gonna show up and yeah, like wow the world because of, you know, because you like what that says about you. So yeah, basically he says like instead of looking for that in someone else, like actually work on the parts of you that need to grow. So yeah.
Word.
That's so good.
Good word.
Wow.
Dr. Henry Cloud, am I right?
He
Podcast
does
is
it again.
Speaking to me. I'm gonna I'm gonna dive in that pool too, Henry Cloud.
Can't wait for him to come on this podcast.
Oh, I
He will.
cannot wait. I'm just going to start sending them to him.
Once we get 200 Instagram followers.
Whoa, we'll have made
Okay,
it.
did you guys know we're at like 150 or something?
See? Once we get to
Okay,
200.
come on.
Let's go, people.
Which, you know, we're not asking you to follow, but like if you wanted to follow, like we're not going to stop you.
No. No, for sure.
It is helpful. Just going to throw that out there. If
like
you want to
just sprinkle it
if you want to
in.
hit that follow button, you know, if you
We
want
won't
to.
say no.
We won't
There
say
we go.
no. We'll take it.
Well, do we have any final thoughts on attraction? I love all the things we've shared so far.
Yeah. I don't have any more, but Kalli.
I just have just a little thought. I would say just be kind to yourself and be gracious.
Yeah.
Like if attraction is a tricky thing for you or if it doesn't happen a lot, like don't think that it's never gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
just kind of go on the journey of figuring it out and going on dates and like just seeing what happens and just it will come. Like I think that's the big thing because sometimes you can feel like, is it ever gonna happen? And yes, it does. So just in the meantime, don't beat yourself up about it and don't feel like you have to put pressure on yourself, but just kind of go on the journey, as they say. So yeah.
Yeah. And I would say something that's I've seen in all of us, which you guys might giggle about, is like I think all three of us have grown in being attractive to guys over the years because the more that we have grown in self-acceptance of ourselves, we become more confident, we become more comfortable in our skin, and that actually has allowed guys to be drawn to us. And and not in like a manipulative way. I think when I see women walking in confidence of who they are, putting themselves out there in their own way, because there's some who are more introverted, some who are more extroverted. Not all the extroverted women are going to have guys be attracted to them, but it's those who feel just like beautiful in their skin and are rocking like their life. Those that it's attractive. Like, and I mean, not even in the romantic sense, but I just like, I'm like, I've seen Andrea grow in her confidence and she's like being asked on dates all the time. And I'm like, that's because she's like growing in confidence.
Yes.
And same for Kalli. Like, it's just like she's being asked out and she's already taken. And it's just like, she's a babe. It's just like, but it's like, I think there's been something of like us over the years, more and more just being like, oh yeah, like I'm going to live my life. I'm going to own it. And in that's attractive. And so it just, if you're listening to this podcast and you don't feel attractive because someone broke up with you or the guy you like doesn't like you back, like own your life, like go after your dreams, go after like who you want to be. Like it's never too late to change or become that woman that you want to be. And so like, or, you know, just like own your life and that people are going to be attracted to you because of it. And so I just think that's something like, I know I really struggled with feeling attractive and not like liking who I was. And the more I've like learned to just like embrace who I am, the more I'm like, no, I'm an attractive person. Like someone's going to like me. I don't know who, but so yeah. That's what I want
We've
to say.
seen many men. We've seen
Yeah.
many men be in love with Lauren. So
Yep.
no concerns here. But
Ay, ay,
yeah.
That's so
So,
good, Lauren.
Yeah, that's so good. Honestly, I feel like we could do a whole other podcast on own your life. Like
Maybe it'll be the next one.
maybe
don't know.
it will. Maybe it
Own
will.
that life, and who knows? You might get a date.
Who knows?
No guarantees.
No
Yeah,
guarantee.
if you're lucky.
No guarantees, but
No money back guarantee.
but we're saying it's been working for us so far.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining me, Kalli
Pleasure.
Christopherson and Lauren Bernique.
Who are we?
Andrea Alley. Andrea
And
Danielle
we're
Alley.
so glad that you're back into Dr. Henry Cloud and
Yeah,
following him.
right?
really
I know.
worried.
Yeah. Also, like, if somebody listens to this episode for the first time, they're totally gonna have your names wrong. I just like
Yeah.
to point out.
Yeah,
That's okay.
well, that's
You can go on
fine.
YouTube and figure it out. So
Yeah, go on YouTube.
If this is the only one you've listened to, listen to another one. Otherwise, you're gonna just be so confused.
Figure
So,
out
yeah.
whose names we are.
yeah,
That's
it's a
right.
mystery.
And then follow. Okay.
You know, it's for April. It's for April Fools, so that's why.
Yeah.
Because it's March 13th. So,
Yeah.
of course,
There
naturally,
you go.
that's what we're doing. Oh, man. Okay.
Okay.
Love you all. Thanks for joining us. And we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.